in my experience of mentoring over thousands of UPSC aspirants, I have seen the smartest of them fail, and their smartness has been the reason of their failure. Now, if you think that you are one of the smart aspirants, then this video is for you, in order for you to identify what is it about the smart aspirants that leads them to failure. So let's directly jump into the point and try to understand the reasoning behind the smart students failing the UPSC examination. Number one, information addiction. So the smart aspirants that are there, they have addiction to the information. Guys, this exam is a generalist exam except for your optional subject. It commands that you know more, but don't go too much into depth. Now, this addiction of the smart aspirants has two basic issues in it. One issue is that these aspirants are looking for more and more in-depth of knowledge to the level of research, which does not help them, because that in-depth questions research level are not asked in UPSC. But in addition to that, another issue that the information addiction creates is these aspirants going for more and more sources, more and more notes, more and more PDFs, and thus creating more confusion, also leaving them with less amount of time for revision, which is actually the key for clearing UPSC. They also do not focus on various other things which they could have done, because they are busy collecting more and more information from anywhere possible. Now, whenever I discuss with them the resources, they think, sir, is this enough? Will that be okay? See, if the question is presented like this, then in UPSC, nothing is ever enough. But at the same time, there is an optimum amount of sources. So you will have to draw a boundary, and you have to revise within that boundary multiple times. Yes, so this is the very first problem that they face. Second, they keep studying, they start studying and continue studying without thinking at all. Yes, they hardly think. Now, when I am saying that they don't think, I do not mean to say that they cannot think or they do not think about what they are studying. What I mean to say is, there is no direction, there is no proper track. They are randomly studying the sources, they are collecting the information, imbibing the information, but not trying to understand the other things that is required. Because UPSC now no longer tests your memory, what it tests. In fact, previously also that was the case. The memory test is generally for the SSC CGL kind of examination, or even for state PCS, where the questions are very direct. But in UPSC, that is not the case. It tests your analysis. Did you analyze the PYQs? It assesses your elimination technique. Now, that also comes from PYQs and practicing mocks, and it also trusts your judgment. Very important thing for the 2026 paper that had come. Judgment there was very important. 3-4 questions which were very lengthy were based on decision making. At the same time, whether to solve that question or not, because they are lengthy, so to solve in the first go or come back to them at a later instance is also a judgment call, is a time management call. Checks your decision making skill, and within the question also the same things are checked. So the facts that you have generally definitely helps you, but it is the thinking that selects the aspirants for the mains. So I hope this is clear. So next time, if you are mindlessly studying, please think again and please analyze and learn the elimination technique, have a proper judgment and decision making with respect to what you're studying, when you solve the questions, so on and so forth. Now, the next thing, very important, is these aspirants are also, as I mentioned, that they are focusing on more information, so they are always chasing new and new material that is there, whereas they don't focus on the PYQs. That is the need of the hour. Now, having cleared prelims with after getting 128 marks, I know what worked, what didn't work. In addition to that, teaching for UPSC in last 10 years again has got me to know that not just 10 years PYQ PYQs for certain subjects, you might have to go even back and to look at the pattern or what can be asked in order to estimate next year what can come and be prepared for that thing so that you are not shocked. It's all right to go back to 20, 25, 30 years as well. Yes, look at modern history. Go back 30 years. You will find the paper as something you already knew about. Go back 25 years ago, you will realize that general science related chemistry, physics questions used to also come. I'm not saying that you then start reading physics, chemistry, and all that, but the idea is at least a general understanding of which vitamin does what, leads to which deficiency, etc. You should know, and you shouldn't be shocked if next year UPSC asks you that question. So ignoring PYQ is non-negotiable. Basically, is not the way forward. Doing PYQs is non-negotiable. So aspirants, they chase new material, right? But UPSC repeats the pattern. Of course, the questions are different, but the patterns are repeated. PYQs will reveal how UPSC thinks, what they are actually trying to check. The question may look very difficult, but in reality, they are not even checking that. That can easily be eliminated, and you don't even have to have that information. Some other simple information can help you solve the question. So it is not just what UPSC asks, but what UPSC wants you to know is very, very important. So PYQs are non-negotiable. Now let's come to the final truth as to why most of the smart aspirants fail. Because they prepare to study, they are preparing to study more and more. They are not preparing to clear the exam. See, the information, how much one has, is not going to help them clear, but how best can they utilize is what is going to help them clear this exam. Hope that's clear. So, as a result of which, more books, not necessarily it's going to help. More notes, no. More material, no. Clear strategy you should have. PYQs study you should have done. Develop elimination technique with that. Understand the pattern over there. Do smart revisions, multiple revisions and smart revision. You have to revise at least 5-6 times before the prelims in your journey. One reading and 5 more revisions are required. Then you test yourself through the test series. Not just test and get the marks, analyze what is working, what is not working, so on and so forth. Now, this is going to ensure that you are prepared to clear, not just preparing to study. Now, if you have any further doubts or you might want a proper study plan or guidance, you can of course reach out to me for freely available your own schedule, which is personalized to your own needs and no one else's. Because what happens in a classroom or in a general platform also, generic things are given forward, not specific thing, but what you need is a specific thing. So that's about it. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you're notified whenever we bring out a new video. Thank you.